Hey everyone, welcome back to the YouTube channel God Will Do It For You. My name is Steven. I hope everyone's having a great day so far. And what we're going to be talking about today is enduring the test of time and why God puts us through these enduring trials. And honestly, He releases these particular tests that not only strengthens our endurance, but also tests to see exactly what's in our heart and how we're going to respond to these situations, because there's definitely plenty of situations where you could react a certain way, but you choose to take what they call the high road. And that's something that I'm just known to do, because I just think about actions have consequences, and if you have an action that is more negative than positive, you just never know how bad that could reflect on you and the karma that comes around from that. And so first, what we're going to do is go into the Bible where it talks about enduring the test of time, and then we'll go into the video. So we're going to go to 1 Corinthians chapter 10, and we're going to go to verse 13, and it says, "No temptation has overtaken you that is not common to man. God is faithful, and He will not let you be tempted beyond your ability. But with the temptation, He will also provide the way of escape, that you may be able to endure it." So what does this mean? So when he's using the word temptation, so no trial. So no temptation has overtaken you that is not common to man. So basically saying He's not putting you through something that someone else hasn't already been through before you. So He's not doing anything specific for you because He's like, well, because they've had this particular life, I'm going to do this. What He does is He allows certain trials to happen at particular times. And that is why it says God is faithful, and He will not let you be tempted beyond your ability. So He's not going to put you through something that is beyond what you can handle, because His objective is to have you succeed. And it says He will also provide the way of escape, that you may be able to endure it. The way to escape is to Him, through prayer. And that is how you endure it. The one thing I've realized is that I must not know what's coming ahead, because these tests and trials and tribulations that I've been running into the past year and something, I'm just like, come on, man, you're beating the hell out of me now. I'm just like, you're just beating me up at this point, and you're abusing me. I don't even know what He wants anymore. But at the same time, I'm thinking, okay, in January, I had relationships lost, and it just kind of fell off. So I was like, okay. And then February, I went in with a lot of energy. I did put things in the actual play like I planned, so that's good. So the things are in place and they're moving forward. But then you had the situation, the funny business last week, and then my dad passing away, and also just the trials and tribulations of him saying I was going to be in the will, and then him not having me in the will, and just visually having to see people get excited about selling your parents' belongings for money that they know that they will be able to utilize, and you get nothing. And that was just something that I definitely had to deal with this weekend, just as far as the emotion of being disappointed, feeling let down, backstabbed, slighted, whatever words you want to use, made look like a fool. And so one thing I had to realize, though, is that if you can handle your flesh and blood disappointing you, then when outside or external circumstances or people, whatever the case may be, does the same, it shouldn't sting as bad, because with it being so close, that's as diabolical as it gets. Then at that point, it comes to God. I mean, God's not going to do that to you. One thing I've realized is that it's like that video that I made, maintaining a pure heart that God can use. God has to test you in a lot of particular circumstances to see how will this person react when they feel like they aren't getting their fair end of the deal, or they feel like they're being mistreated, or they feel like they're being let down, or they feel like they're being done. Whatever the case may be, how are you going to respond? Are you going to do what the Bible says and maintain a righteous heart, or are you gonna dip onto the dark side and like, I gotta get even, or I gotta fight this, or I gotta take matters into my own hands? This is where their endurance comes in, because by the time you've been tested by life over and over and over, the betrayals, the letdowns, the broken hearts, the trials and tribulations, still pressing on with your goal, even though you knew people that were doing what you were doing, they've kind of fell off, they've kind of given up on it. So you're like, oh crap, man, it's not working out for them. But you still keep pressing on, pressing on, pressing on, pressing on. Eventually, God's gonna open that gate and say He's ready, and that's where life gets really interesting. One thing I've realized is that the reason why, because even me, I was like, well, why am I not mad? My family was more mad than me. And they were thinking of all types of ways of how they're like, hey, just in case you want to fight this. And it's just in my heart, I was like, I kind of understand why he did it. I just don't know why he chose to not be straightforward with me after I tried to talk to him about it a few times prior. Just like, hey, what do you want me to do? You told me you want to handle the wheel, this and that, yada, yada, yada. You know, what do you want me to do with everything? And he was just kind of like, oh, well, not come to find out, well, the reason he was waving it off was because he didn't want to tell me. And whatever reason why is whatever reason why. But one thing I've learned is that I handled it very well. I could have showed my butt to that family of his wife's. I could have not helped like I was helping. But even though I understood what was going on in front of me, even though I cared about making sure that his wife was good, he did love his wife. She did take care of him until death did them apart. You know, so there was a level of respect. I had to put my feelings and my differences aside to make sure that I maintained composure and that I did not come off disrespectful, even though I felt like I was did really wrong and I could clearly see everything that was going on. I chose to take the high road, and I had to do that in order to get my son. I had to deal with stuff that I really didn't want to do. I had to bite my mouth, I had to, bite my tongue and keep my mouth shut and just deal with the emotions and, cry in the car if I needed to, whatever the case may be. But I had to stand correct, and the end result was I got my son. So sometimes the pain and the suffering that you endure and the actual personality development, that's actually most important. The change that God is doing in you is what's going to prepare you for what's ahead, because new levels, new devils. Also, just realizing that you don't know what's coming ahead. Let's say things take off pretty soon with my endeavors. You're going to be running into people that do deals, shady deals, things of that nature. Same thing in the food hospitality business. People always, hey, yeah, we want to use you for catering. And they're like, oh, never mind at the last minute, things of that nature. You're going to have to get used to people letting you down, not coming through the way they said they're going to do, especially people that might be close to you. And it won't sting as much if you've already been through the trials and tribulations of how you will handle business. If you run into those situations, you won't have to worry about reacting in a way that could be detrimental to your success, because God's already tested you. He's already tried you through close, intimate situations, so that He can make sure when He puts you out here in the world for the world to be exposed to see you, you won't show your butt and mess up everything that He's worked hard inside of you to bring about, to produce the will of His kingdom in your life. And also, just if you have any personal goals, because the goals that I have, I'm like, it's bigger than me. It's bigger than me. I want to bring about change in the environment. And in order to do that, I have to be at a certain level of success in order to have the power, the means, the necessary connections, whatever the case may be, in order to do the damage that God wants me to do while I'm here. So this is why God puts us through these trials. This is why sometimes when things don't seem fair, one thing I've learned is that God knows how to make up the difference. That's one thing I always say, is God knows how to make up the difference. He knows how to make it fair. If I'm looking at, okay, yeah, she's going to get, over 6 figures after they sell everything and this and that nature, God can say, well, guess what? If you fall along on your path, I can give you $1 million. So then what's that 6 figures to the $1 million that I can give you? Whatever the case may be, we got to make sure that we understand who we're serving, who we're dealing with. God has the power to do whatever He wants, He is the source, so he can provide the resource of whatever he chooses or whoever he chooses in order to bless you to get you where you need to go when that time comes. So I hope this video has been a blessing. If you're going through it, understand why you're going through it. God's just toughening you up, so that way when he elevates you, you will remember. You'll be able to look back and remember how faithful he was to you. You'll remember how he always came through for you. You'll remember that you used to be at that point then, and now look where you are now. You'll remember, and it'll make it easier for you to handle things going forward. So I hope this video has been a blessing. If you feel led to like, share, subscribe, definitely do so. Otherwise, enjoy this warm weather that you're supposed to be getting if you live in the South. If you don't, oh well. Sorry. Otherwise, until next time, I'll see y'all later.